Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're unpacking a really incredible piece of source material. It's a timeless, highly motivational tale that kind of forces us to take a hard look at how we measure our own potential. It's called The Constant Shell, Turong's Path to Victory. And honestly, the lessons we're about to explore here might just fundamentally shift how you view your own daily grind.
Okay, let's dive into this. Does speed really guarantee success? I mean, we live in a world that is totally obsessed with going fast, right? Fast food, fast internet, getting rich quick, becoming an overnight success. We just naturally assume that the fastest, the loudest, and the quickest among us are the ones who are absolutely guaranteed to win. But this story, it forces us to completely reevaluate that everyday assumption. Think about it. What if our obsession with speed is actually blinding us to the real mechanics of achievement?
Section 1, Turong's struggle. Let's establish our protagonist here and see exactly what he's up against.
So, we meet Turong. He's a small turtle living in this incredibly vibrant, fast-paced forest. Now, Turong wasn't just slow, he was noticeably much slower than everyone else around him. And, as you can probably imagine, being the absolutely slowest in that kind of environment is an incredibly lonely place to be. The fast animals around him, specifically the rabbit, the deer, and the monkey, well, they chose cruel mockery over support. They'd actually laugh and taunt him with the phrase that honestly cuts pretty deep. You are so slow that the sun will rise and set, but you will still be right here. And, words really do have weight. This relentless mockery took a massive emotional toll on Turong, pushing him into a state of deep internal despair. He genuinely started to believe he'd never achieve anything significant in his entire life. It's a super relatable feeling, isn't it? Have you ever had those moments where you're watching everyone else seemingly sprint ahead in their careers or their personal lives, while you feel completely stuck right at the starting line?
Let's move to Section 2, a new perspective, and see how this builds when Turong meets someone entirely new.
Thankfully, the story doesn't just end in that dark place. One day, out at the edge of the forest, a totally heartbroken Turong crossed paths with a wise old turtle. He just poured out all his struggles, his lack of speed, his lack of strength, and the just unbearable weight of all that mockery. The old turtle simply smiled at him and delivered this profoundly simple piece of wisdom. Speed does not guarantee success, but consistency definitely does. Let that sink in for a second. This was the exact turning point of Turong's entire life. It was a literal paradigm shift, offering him an entirely new metric for winning. Section 3, the practice of consistency. This is where the real daily grind begins. Armed with this brand new perspective, Turong made a rock-solid decision to change. And listen, this wasn't about wishing for some magical overnight transformation. It was a rigorous, highly demanding daily routine. He started waking up well before dawn. He was walking incredibly long distances. He was out there climbing massive, unforgiving rocks and practicing super dangerous river crossings. His sole goal wasn't to somehow magically beat the rabbit or the deer tomorrow. It was simply to be a little bit better today than he was yesterday. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows this wasn't some smooth cinematic training montage. Not at all. The painful reality of the grind meant Turong was constantly falling down, facing extreme physical fatigue, and battling this overwhelming urge to just quit completely. And we really need to normalize this. Struggle, pain, and fatigue are totally normal, expected parts of growth, even when you are doing everything exactly right. Yet, when the exhaustion hit its absolute peak, Turong leaned on this really powerful internal mantra. If I couldn't do it today, I will definitely do it tomorrow. He accepted the failure of the day without ever letting it dictate his potential for tomorrow. That right there, that is the absolute core of true resilience. Section 4, the final test. After all that preparation, the ultimate test of endurance finally arrives. Months of relentless, quiet grinding passed by, and eventually, a massive competition was announced for the entire forest. But here's the catch. This was an extreme test of endurance, not a sprint. The competitors were about to face brutally unforgiving terrain. We're talking navigating through incredibly deep mud, scaling towering hills, maneuvering over massive rocks, and eventually having to swim across a treacherous river. It perfectly sets the stage for why mere speed, the exact thing the other animals prided themselves on, would absolutely not be enough here. And this brilliantly illustrates how it all played out. Look at the left side. We see the hubris and the really quick downfall of those fast animals. The rabbit sprinted right out of the gate, but tired out way too early. The deer bolted forward, only to get completely stuck in the deep mud. And the frantic monkey?
he slipped and totally lost his footing in his hurry. But then look over on the right at Terang's approach. He remained completely calm, taking it just one single step at a time. He didn't stop, he didn't panic, and he never looked back during his relentless, unstoppable march forward.
Section 5. The Secret of Success. We finally reach the climax of this grueling, hours-long struggle.
After hours and hours of agonizing struggle through the wilderness, the outcome literally shocked the entire forest. Tarang, the small, slow turtle, crossed that finish line first. He actually received a thunderous standing ovation, and yes, that included cheers from the very animals who used to mercilessly mock him. At that exact moment, his whole identity fundamentally shifted. He was no longer known as the slowest animal in the forest, he had officially become its most inspiring warrior. So the crucial point is how this story fundamentally redefines what achievement actually means for us in our own daily lives. Success really isn't a measure of how fast you can go. It's a product of radical consistency, gritty hard work, and an unyielding, unbreakable self-belief. It is all about doing the hard work in the dark, day after day, so you can ultimately shine in the light.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to consider this final, super powerful thought from the source text. One day, your success will become an inspiration for the world. Seriously, don't worry about the rabbits and deer in your life who might be sprinting ahead of you today. Just keep your head down and keep moving forward consistently. So I'll leave you with this. What is the one small, consistent step you can take today that might just end up inspiring the world tomorrow?